Okay, now coming to the pathophysiology of rheumatoid arthritis, I'll draw some host proteins here. So these host proteins, they could be anything as vimentin or type 2 collagen, normally present in the cartilages of the bone, or they can also be IgG antibodies. Okay, so these are some host proteins which are normally present in our body. Now when these host proteins, when they are attacked by some environmental triggers such as smoking or infection, could be any kind of infection. Okay, so when they are attacked by some environmental triggers such as smoking or infection, or when there is any kind of a genetic predisposition. So when there is genetic predisposition such as defect in the HLA-DR gene, human leukocyte antigen gene, these are the genes which regulate the immune system of our body. So when there is defect in these genes, these host proteins which are normal here, they become abnormal. Okay, so they become abnormal proteins, or we can also call them as antigens. So they become from normal, they become abnormal proteins due to these factors here, environmental triggers and genetic predispositions. So these abnormal proteins are now detected by some immune cells of our body. So one is the dendritic cell here. So dendritic cell, which is an antigen presenting cell, and the B cells. Okay, so these abnormal proteins are detected by the dendritic cells and the B cells. These two cells will take this antigen and they will present it to the T cells. Okay, so they will present this antigen to T cells. B cells also, they will these B cells, after detection of these abnormal proteins, they will get activated and they will form activated B cells. Okay, so the B cells will form activated B cells, and these activated B cells, they will differentiate. These activated B cells will differentiate into plasma cells. Okay, so these activated B cells differentiate into plasma cells, and we know what plasma cells do. They will produce antibodies. Or in this case, they will produce autoantibodies. Now what are the autoantibodies they produce? One is RF, or rheumatoid factor. One antibody is known as rheumatoid factor, and another is something known as ACPA. Okay, so first talking about the rheumatoid factor, it is an IgM antibody. It is an IgM antibody that targets Fc portion of IgG antibody. Okay, so rheumatoid factor, it is an IgM antibody and it will target the Fc portion of IgG antibody. We know IgG antibody has two Fab portion and this is Fc portion. So this IgM antibody, they will attack the Fc portion of the IgG antibody and they will form immune complexes. Okay, immune complexes. And this ACPA, this is also known as this is anti-citrulinated peptide antibody. Okay, ACPA known as anti-citrulinated peptide antibody. I'm sorry with the spelling here. Citrulinated peptide antibody. So this antibody will attack these proteins here. Okay, these abnormal proteins here. Why? Because as they are anti-citrulinated peptide, so in this case here, when the conversion of host proteins, these host proteins consist of an amino acid called arginine. Okay, so these host proteins consist of arginine, and this arginine will undergo the process of citrullination. So this arginine will undergo process of citrullination and form citrulline, which is present in these abnormal proteins. Okay, so citrulline is present in abnormal proteins. So these proteins are now attacked by anti-citrulinated peptide antibody. and these will also form immune complexes. And these immune complexes, they can deposit in the blood vessels here, and they can cause vasculitis. Okay, so this is one thing. Now coming back to here, the dendritic cells and the B cells, they present this antigen to T cells, and these T cells will get activated and they will form activated T cells. Okay, and these immune complexes formed here, they will also activate the T cells. Okay, they can also cause they can also activate these T cells. Now these activated T cells, they can move through the blood into the joint space I have made here. Okay, so these are the activated T cells. So these activated T cells move all the way through blood to joint spaces. So here is the drawing of a joint, of a synovial joint actually. So these are two bones here, and these are the articulated cartilages, and these joints are lined by this thing here. This is fibrous capsule, which is basically the extension of periosteum. So these are the fibrous capsule, and in the inner lining of this fibrous capsule we have these membranes called synovial membrane. Okay, so these are the synovial membrane, and these membrane, they produce synovial fluid inside this joint space. They produce synovial fluid inside the joint space, and these synovial fluids lubricate the joint, and they help in flexible joint movement. Okay, so this is the normal structure of synovial joint. So now when these activated T cells, when they reach at this joint space, they do few activities here. The first thing is they produce something called as rank L, RANKL. Okay, rank means receptor activator of nuclear kappa B ligand. Okay, so rank L means receptor activator of nuclear kappa B ligand. Now what it does is it has its receptor in these cells here, these huge multinucleated joint cells. Okay, so rank L have their receptor in these cells, and when they bind to its receptor, they will activate these cells, and these are the osteoclast cells which are present in the bone. And we know what osteoclast cells do. They will destroy the bone. Okay, the osteoclast cells, they will destroy the bone, and this will cause bone erosion. Rank L produced by activated T cells will activate the osteoclast cells, and osteoclast cells will cause bone erosion. So this is one thing. Another, activated T cells can also produce few cytokines such as interferon gamma and tumor necrosis factor alpha. Okay, so interferon gamma and tumor necrosis factor alpha produced by the activated T cells can recruit more macrophages inside the joint spaces. Okay, there are blood vessels coming and going out of these joints here. So through those blood vessels, these cytokines will recruit more macrophages here. So I'll draw. So these are the macrophages. Okay, so these macrophages, now they will also produce some cytokines such as TNF alpha, tumor necrosis factor alpha, interleukin 1, interleukin 6. Okay, so these are the cytokines produced by the macrophages. And these cytokines, one thing they can do is that these interleukins, they can go to the brain and they can cause fever. They act as pyrogens and they can cause fever in the brain. Another is these cytokines can also act on the cells, these cells here. So what are these cells? These are cells which are present in this synovial membrane. These are synovial fibroblasts. Okay, so these are the synovial fibroblast cells which are present in the synovial membrane, and these cytokines will activate these synovial fibroblast cells. The tumor necrosis factor, which is produced by the activated T cells, can also directly activate the synovial fibroblast cells. Okay, the synovial fibroblast cells, what they can do is that they can again produce the same cytokines here. Okay, they can again produce the same cytokines as TNF alpha, interleukin 1, and interleukin 6, and these cytokines can again activate the macrophages. So a positive cycle is going on around here. A vicious cycle occurs here. Okay, so macrophages produce these cytokines which will activate the synofibroblasts, and synovial fibroblasts will again produce these cytokines which will activate the macrophages. So a positive cycle is going around. And also these synovial fibroblasts, another thing which they can do is that they can produce this substance called MCSF. MCSF means macrophage colony stimulating factor. Okay, MCSF can activate these cells here. So what are these cells? These are the cells which are present in the bone. These are osteoclast precursor cells. MCSF produced by the synovial fibroblast cells can activate osteoclast precursor cells. Now when they are activated, these cells will fuse together and they will form these huge multinucleated giant cells, osteoclasts, and we know what osteoclasts do. They cause bone erosion. Okay, so that is another thing. Now next thing is synofibroblasts can also produce matrix metalloproteinases. Okay, they can also produce matrix metalloproteinases. But another thing, aggrecanase. These are all proteolytic enzymes also. Okay, so synovial fibroblasts can produce matrix metalloproteinases, aggrecanase, and these proteolytic enzymes can destroy the cartilages of the bone. Okay, they can destroy, they can cause cartilage breakdown. And also the synovial fibroblasts, they can also produce prostaglandins, PZ. They can also produce prostaglandins, which can lead to pain in the joints, and nitric oxide. Okay, so prostaglandins and nitric oxide produced by the synovial fibroblast, they can cause pain. They also cause a vasodilation leading to swelling of the joint. Okay, pain and swelling. So that is how your joints get destroyed in rheumatoid arthritis.